that I created.
Yes, and so this brother is sitting and literally putting these shapes together by hand. Can you see the screen?
Well, that's the wrong one. You're actually about to do the magnetic field. I don't want to show the magnetic field just yet. Okay. I want you to do the video where it's all of the crystalline.
It starts from the top.
Yes.
I got you. Yep.
And that's just to demonstrate the supersymmetry of what I just showed them in the web application. This is the supersymmetry of them all working together. You might have to start it again. Weird.
Okay. I got to figure out how to zoom this in, but I got you. Here it is. Okay, yeah, it won't allow me to zoom it in. There it is. Can you see it?
Yeah, can you start it over?
Yep.
Now, all of these are different motion and pressure conditions. We have abreans, we have adrians, where five of them have come together. Five of these abrean pieces have come together. This is 10 of them coming together, and they predict every potential wave that can ever occur. And these are multiple different wave conjugations or pressure conditions, but you see how they all fit together. Here we are back to the Dashian, where 6 bubbles meet, blending in with what happens when 12 bubbles meet. Here's 5 of the Dashians come together. Here again, which are the light units. All of these things are different motion and pressure conditions, but it shows you when 2 or more of them bond or come together, it creates a natural waveform.
Wow.
These are the true, this is the structure of electricity. This is the dark matter that they keep looking for. It's already been found. It's already been patented. And I look forward to us now developing new postulates and new axioms based upon these real true curved spaces.
And so so you've also talked about being able to predict the entire Milky Way, and that was in a simulator. Right. And so you were able to use these same patterns and explain for us in basic terms what you meant when you said you were able to map the Milky Way. Like, talk to us like you're talking to a 6th grader.
Well, what we did is, instead of, they always say gravity was the cause of, planets and anything coming together. And I disagree with that. Nature disagrees with that, because it is electricity that's 137 times more attractive than the effects of proposed gravity. And as a result of that, and that's an interesting number, because if you think 1 over 137, that's the fine structure constant that's responsible for everything in there. But it should tell you about the relationship of electricity. But as far as we use linchpins to predict we can use the wave conjugations, but we use linchpins by putting them in the apex of our solar system. And along the galactic plane, you'll see the leg of the linchpin able to predict every single star on the galactic, the celestial, and the elliptic plane. Each one of, like if you picture an atom, the average picture of an atom, you'll see a circle, and you'll see something this way, another circle going this way, and another one going this way. Right. That's the elliptic, the galactic, and the celestial plane.
And so you're saying that at certain points on the linchpin, there are going to be stars that are going to be on these points?
At every single carbon line, which is the center line of struts of the linchpin, you will see the other stars that accompany them. And the noble gases that's holding those together are on the edges of that pentagonal strut. So you're now able to predict all distribution of matter, all distribution of motion. And then you use the wave conjugations to fine tune, because every occurrence of matter happens as a result of a harmonic, sympathetic, vibratory relationship.
And that makes sense, because you're saying that the linchpin design is based upon the geometry of a proton.
Of the tetrine, yes.
And that means that everything that is a thing should have this same basic pattern. I think you talked about it being like fractal.
Yeah, the grand unified field equation is the fractal.
And I can't wait.
And that's that tetrahedron, that first thing I showed you when you put four of those things together.
Right. And
Yes.
so, and I can't wait, because I remember when our early conversations, we talked about this, and I said, if what you're saying is the truth, and I believe that it is, then I should be able to use these same shapes in the world of psychology as well. I should be able to do some predictive things with these shapes. I have to figure it out. And I think I have figured out a design to actually utilize these same shapes to get predictive with human behavior and human disposition as well. And I think, a matter of fact, when you were in the DR and you were showing me the new shapes, and I remember you had put some together and you said that you had done them the inverse of what you had intended to do. And that's when I thought about, I wonder what that has to do with the hemispheres and which hemisphere might be active at that time. And so I'm looking forward to being able to step that level of the research or that application of.
It's like you get to, now we know that a basic linchpin, hold on 1 second, forgive me.
Okay, yeah.
Forgive me. A basic linchpin is made up of a magnetic, because it's spinning outward, and an electric bond. This is, again, the point where the four bubbles actually meet. Now, this we call the linchpin, but it's still the tetrahedron from the center out. Well, four of them will come together and they'll make this very predictable structure. Then these will now, and this is a magnetic bond because it has a dodecahedron in the center, or an expansive center, whereas electricity collapses this. And then these will come together and create these natural bonds. And then four of them will come together, and again, they've recreated this tetrahedral form.
Wow.
And these will keep bonding with greater ones. But if you were to do an electric bond, instead of where four linchpins meet, you ended up with where five linchpins meet, and you can see that the dodecahedron has been collapsed. And it's still a tetrahedral form, but the dodecahedron is collapsed. Well, these now begin to bond like so. Very predictable structures, or they'll bond like so with nothing overlapping. All predictable structures. And these things become larger structures. This is what the universe is based upon. So by putting a certain number of linchpins together to do the Milky Way, we just did two linchpins opposed to each other and added in the particles and create and allowed the spin to occur. And then we ended up with the entire Milky Way galaxy. That's in the very beginning of the book. Go to tcotlc.com. The very first page, you'll see, before you tap on the green clover, you'll see a video where we use the same simulators that they use in all of the major science schools. And we rebuilt the planet Saturn without gravity. And we did the same by just putting four linchpins in rotation with each other, allowing those vortices from the 12 different opposing pentagonal spaces. Each one of these, inside of each one of these, oops, sorry guys. I went and moved the main thing that was holding this whole thing up. Life happens.
Yeah, dude.
What you're looking at is each one of these has a vortice that's spinning off of it. You have to picture multiple vortices spinning off of each one of these tornadoes. And that's how things bond. It's this relationship. And this is how matter is distributed along these lines. This is what everything comes down to in the universe. It's as simple as that.
Now, wait a minute. So now what you just did, that's how you came up with the concept of the linchpin being a drone and able to fly the way that it does, the vortices?
Yes, because of those 12 vortices that occur within it. Let me help you.
Yeah, man. And so I hope that y'all are grasping.
This right here is going to generate those 12 vortices. It's the same as this, but each pentagonal area has its own opposites at this natural space, this natural universal bend where all these forces has to come and meet. Now you're able to mitigate or to cancel out the galactic plane. You can the galactic spin. You can decouple from that. You can decouple from the ecliptic spin, and decouple from the celestial spin. And you have now an ability to balance through everything.
Wow. So in other words, it's like the mastery of all of these different planes, if you will, in order to move amongst
any force. All forces are mitigated now.
Brother, I hope people are grasping the gravity of this conversation and what you're putting forward here. I sincerely hope that, that people, if you yourself are a scientist, if you got a buddy that is, share this video, share these concepts, and, the invitation is open. Let's get it in, because this is not the first step anymore, but it's a very early step of many to come. And stay tuned, because as brother Terrence Howard, I got your backs, man. So when it comes down to this, I'm rolling with you, fam. And whatever academic doors we need to knock on, pick the lock, kick in.
And it's because it's not about ego. This is about a necessity. This is a truth that every human being needs to know in order to be able to take care of their family and teach them properly. It allows us to have a more balanced existence with our universe and with ourselves.
So
by knowing.
What's a real world implication of this knowledge? Like having this, and if you apply it, what could be one of the beneficial results for us?
Well, all of it is it's you're able to produce your own energy. You're able to sustain and coexist with our environment. You're able to, like I said, become a level 1 civilization and utilize all of the resources of the earth and benefit the earth and the creatures of the earth at the same time. So cosmically, karmically, that's a wonderful place. But you get to level 2, level 3, level 4, and being able to now visit and travel and experience other parts of the universe as a result of utilizing these truths and these tools to guide you in understanding universal fundamentals and functions. That's all these are. These are new tools, to being able to predict and describe how things are going to react and what pressure condition you'll be in, and how you might need to mitigate that pressure condition that might be inconsistent with you maintaining your homeostasis.
And so I guess the last point, so we could go ahead and wrap, brother. I know you said you had about 30 minutes left. You've also presented those as better models for the elements. Right now we're using the circle with the wooden posts coming out. The circle is the nucleus and the wooden post, and then the little balls on the outside are like the electrons. But these seem to be superior and more accurate.
Yes, these combined with the wave conjugations that you saw, this is the electric. This is the constitution between the electric, which are the wave conjugations, and the mirror shapes, which are the magnetic field or the repulsive expression. So if you throw that last video up of the light spinning, because that's an example of the magnetic field, things expanding in comparison to the contraction of the electric field. So I want them to see all, and these are the 3 supersymmetric systems.
This one here, right?
Yep, and this is just made from 4 mirror shapes, which is the feminine component of the tetrahedron. This is and these are, we just put a string of lights down the center, but we stack 4 sets of, we put 4 of the mirror pieces together, and we stacked them, to where we had 8, full octaves. And we ran 1 string of lights down the middle. But if you look at the refraction that's happening, it looks like there's trillions of lights in there.
Yeah, man. And this is amazing. So this is a plastic. This is amazing, because I see the double helix of DNA in there.
All waveforms. It predicts all waveforms.
And this is something that you constructed.
Yes.
Based on these same principles.
Transcendental lighting.
This thing is beautiful. Hey, for right now on, no more Christmas trees, only these.
That's the magnetic, the repulsive, the expansive field in comparison to those Terrian wave conjugations, which is the electric. And the linchpin is the constitution between the two of them. The balance, and all of them are supersymmetrical systems. And like I said, mankind hasn't invented discovered one supersymmetrical system, because the platonic solids have only a discrete symmetry and have to be aligned in particular ways, and all of them can't fit together and make any sense without making mess. We might have to get the other part on another conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Terrence Deshaun Howard, scientist.
No, His Excellency, Dr. Terrence Deshaun Howard.
His Excellency, Dr. Terrence Deshaun Howard. Let's talk about that real quick. So, because I threw that out there at the very first conversation. What is that about? His Excellency.
So, the King of Torah in Uganda, him and the Queen Mother, like a lot of Black people don't realize, we have Black kings and queens. Well, you should just throw up the paper and just read it. It's much simpler, because otherwise I'll just be talking about stuff rather than if you get that picture.
Yep. Here we go. Let's share my screen really quickly.
And I don't really care. I don't believe in the titles and all of that, but it means a lot. Oh no, show the other one. Show the other one. This is one of
this one.
Yes, bingo. If you read that, then it'll make more sense.
Okay, so this is a Word of Life Christian Fellowship, NGO, non-government organization, in special consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council, also known as ECOSOC. It says, City of New York, Peace Ambassadorial Appointment. Whereas the United Nations is the highest international body, whereas World of Life Christian Fellowship, otherwise called Word of Life Ministries International, and thereafter shall be called WOLMI, being the first and only full gospel organization to be accredited by the United Nations Economic and Social Council, whereas WOLMI has been given the rights to appoint ambassadors to the United Nations at large and to intergovernmental bodies, whereas the Executive Council, having vested in the President the authority to appoint, promote, and accredit kingdom ambassadors within the guidelines of its constitution, whereas His Excellency, the Right Reverend, the Honorable Dr. Philip S. Finn, Commander of the Most Distinguished Order of Extraordinary Ambassadors and Presidential General of WOLMI, hereby appoint His Excellency, Dr. Terrence Deshaun Howard, as a peace ambassador with all rights and privileges pertaining thereto of being an ambassador, whereas he has the right to use the title His Excellency before his name. Whereas the title ambassador is after the order of Ephesians 6:20 and from the Kingdom of God Constitution according to 2 Corinthians 5:20. Under my hand and Executive Council of WLMI, on the 25th day of March of 2023, the Right Reverend Dr. the Honorable Philip S. Finn and the Reverend Dr. the Honorable Sharon J. Baquedo Finn, Senior Executive Vice President.
So that's where the title comes, which I'm proud. I'm very proud of being able to, like when being referred to as His Excellency, because it's been so much mess thrown on my name. And the doctor comes from the actual honorary doctorate that I received from South Carolina State University. I know I said on Jimmy Kimmel that I had a degree in chemical engineering or a doctorate in chemical engineering, but I spoke thinking that I had to live up to something with somebody, and I don't need that. Because what they have a doctorate in is a doctorate in falsehood and lie. But I participated and lied in that. But I did receive an honorary doctorate from South Carolina, but what I've done with chemistry, what I've done with physics, what I've done with geometry, with math, for itself, engineering, materials engineering, it speaks for it.
Yep. And so part of my plan, brother, is to have those degrees that are, that match your merit and, your productivity, to be conferred upon you, beyond the honorary status. And so stay tuned. That part is loaded. and I've got a PhD in clinical psychology. So even somebody who has gone through the rigor of doing that, I have no problem acknowledging you as a doctor because of the works and what you have produced. And so I'm not ego tripping like that. I know some people, he's not a doctor. I mean, based on what he's done, maybe he hasn't gone through that same process and got that, but he's definitely productive, probably more productive than
those people. I'm like, since you say that I'm not a fighter because I didn't go through your training camp, get in the ring. We can do it with gloves on. We can do MMA. We can do it bare knuckle. We can do whatever you want to do. We can debate this stuff and see who comes out on top. And let's see if your years of training has better equipped to discuss universal fundamentals.
It's kind of like
it's going to be a head cutting.
It's kind of like Rocky versus Drago. You in there lifting bales of hay. They on the high tech equipment. And what I'm gonna do, I'm about to go and blow. I'm gonna grow me an afro. I'm gonna blow it out Don King style. I'm gonna start promoting this fight, brother. Since he's so focused on getting in that ring.
I'm just ready to play. I'm ready to. Truth is necessary. It's time for it. We're dying. This planet is dying.